What's up, Yoon-Fam? It is I,
Mark Yoon.
In today's video, I wanted to take a subjective look at the story or possibility of which the story could possibly take in Soul Calibur VII. By saying that, I mean what sort of scenarios we can possibly see happen, what sort of engagement we'll see between the characters, interactions, side switching, things of that nature. I just thought it'd be a pretty interesting video to, I guess, showcase my thoughts on where I think this could be possibly leading. And by scenarios, I'm not talking about the overall arc of the story. I'm just talking about things that I would like to see possibly between like individualistic characters or groups. I think that's far more interesting to discuss rather than like an overall, convoluted plot based on like obtaining the ultimate seed or what have you. So, with that being said, I think that like a few of the characters are more, how do I put this, more inclined to meet up with each other based on their interactions in this recent game of Soul Calibur VI, which is still currently going on, and the affiliations of the groups that they have. Now, there's obviously going to be characters that are in certain groups, like the Eval organization, which I'm not going to mention too much in this video because I want to make a whole separate video on the Eval organization and their involvement in the story of the next game. But characters like Ivy, right? Isabella Ivy Valentine, and Viola, and Zwei, and characters like that. I was talking to some of my subscribers in the comment section, and a lot of you guys were talking about a few interesting ideas on the last video I did about Zwei and Viola. Now, a couple of you are mentioning the same thing that I wanted to kind of get out here, repeat, just so I can get your ideas postulated out there, and that is the fact that possibly at some point Raphael will have to do some kind of interaction with Viola in order to have her come to her senses, let's just say, because we don't know if she is going to be brainwashed or if she's just going to have lose her memory, some kind of amnesia. We have no idea what that's going to be, or if even she's doing anything of her own volition and her own free will and needs to be persuaded. None of those things are really known to us yet, so we can't really go by that kind of speculation because then we'll just go off the rails. So let's just say that she's under some sort of stipulation to be on the side of Ishka Acht and Nightmare. We'll just say that she's part of the Swords and Shields from something, whether it be her own volition or something outside of her own psyche. We don't know about this yet, so we're just going to go ahead and assume that, okay? So moving forward after that, I think that depending on how they work Zwei's story into it, and what kind of interactions he has with Viola himself, and what kind of interactions that he plays, I think will determine a lot more of where this goes or how this works out. I think he is going to be more of a antagonistic presence in this series. Not necessarily a villain per se, but I think he will be against the heroes in some form or fashion. Whether that's he joined the Swords or the Shields or was created by them or whatever, or possessed by them in order to attain his own goals or his own ambitions, or maybe he's working with Aswell behind the scenes, maybe he's working under Zasalamel. There's plenty of like speculative points we can throw out there that are all equally interesting that we'll probably go about in the future. But specifically how Viola deals with people that she already knows. The fact that she's Amy and she has such a strong bond with characters like Raphael is really interesting when it comes to creating points or counterpoints as to where her character is going to be leading towards. Obviously, Raphael will feel some sort of responsibility to her, somewhat akin to actually being a daughter or a daughter figure in that matter. So he holds some kind of at least authority figure over her, or parental figure. He has some kind of bond that way. Perhaps as a character who is usually on the side of good, unless he's possessed, vampiric, malfested, or whatever other litany of choices that we can actually throw at him for whatever scenario that this game gives him. I think it'll serve twofold. We're gonna, I think, see a somewhat manifested version of Raphael, whether that be his vampiric form or something akin to that, going up against this somewhat brainwashed Viola and Zwei. I'm assuming that they're going to fight and he's going to constantly try to take control to get to recognize him, maybe even though if he's brainwashed, to get him over to her side, or something like possessive, like you belong to me, and fight against Zwei to try and break her free from the Swords and Shepherds, and obviously under whatever his own feelings or doings for that being in that situation, Zwei is going to retaliate, and retaliate hard. So if we see them fighting each other, and then perhaps Viola is providing support to Zwei at first, but then starts to unfold these memory petals, let's say from a rose, these memory folds that are slowly being peeled away like an onion, or like a dying flower in the fall, and we see the memories start to come back to her slowly of who Raphael is and what he means to her. You know, this could be a really interesting dynamic between the two characters, especially involving Zwei, who has no idea about the character's history or their past together. And the fight will be external and internal at the same time. I think this could cause a really good dynamic within the characters, especially pushing the plot forward, where either Raphael breaks, Viola breaks, or they both break and realize what's going on. Maybe the power of their bond is what actually drives out the malfeasance in themselves, or whatever brainwashing they are under. And I think this would lead to really interesting plot scenarios. Like perhaps then she turns on Zwei, and then as opposed to fighting Viola and Raphael, that's when Zwei turns over to their side and agrees to help them because he wants to protect Viola, or because he has his own reasons for doing so, whatever his ambitions entail. Little tiny scenarios like that can be peppered in through the story and explained through the Soul Chronicles is what I'm really looking forward towards. Things that they've already really done well in this game, and in the next iteration I have no doubt they're going to continue this trend. I think that there's a lot of variation between these characters, so we can see things going with this way. We can even see characters meeting up that have before, or we can see new entanglements. So this time perhaps the Fuma clan comes across the traveling warriors of, let's say, like Maxi and, you know, Xianghua and Keelik, and perhaps she decides to actually help them because she needs their abilities to take down Ishka Acht and the swords. There's too many of them, right? So they have to formulate these small groups to take on these Akatsuki type teammates. So I think that we can see a lot of variation there, and there's going to be a lot of really interesting aspects and scenarios that are brought about by this game. And I just said one scenario and then another one off the top of my head, but what I really want to know is the scenarios that you guys are going to come up with. I want to see what you concoct, how intricately woven these stories can get. And I don't need you to be super detailed, but I am going to make a community video on Friday based on these, and I'm going to choose my 5 favorite, and I'm going to showcase them. So I want you to be forewarned and know what you're getting into before you leave comments. This doesn't include the Discord, because I do have a separate one Discord thing, but I'm only choosing 5. And this isn't a contest, so I'm not saying that if you did get it that I don't like yours. I'm trying to look for the most extreme variations I can possibly see to come up with the most context that we can use for this video. So, with that being said, in the comment section, I want to see your scenarios. Just do one. I don't want to see a bunch of different scenarios for one person and have paragraphs upon paragraphs, because that way they're probably going to intercede or interlude with other people's comments, and it's going to be hard to choose based on one scenario or the other. So I think we should just keep it to one scenario or one group or one character pairing, something like that you want to see an intricate scenario unfold, or something that would make the lore of the series more interesting that you want to see explored. I also don't want to hear past games brought up in these comments of today's video specifically. I usually shoot it with you guys with whatever it comes to that kind of stuff, but I want to hear specifically your ideas for Soul Calibur 7 in particular. With that being said, guys, we're going to bring this video to a close. I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank you for listening. If you want to join the Discord or join the Yoon-Fam, the subscribe button's there. The join button is directly next to it. And then you can hit the bell if you want to get all my videos. You guys know the deal. I don't try to make these to you in every video because you guys are smart enough to figure out how YouTube works by now. And also check out the Discord, because we have a lot of good conversations going on there, and people give me video ideas. We have really great conversations, and there's other people in there as well. So if you like Soul Calibur and you are a fan of talking about Soul Calibur, that's a really good place to start. Thanks for watching, guys, and always, I like it. Thank you.
And thank you.